Once upon a time, before there was a once, before there was a time, before there was a concept of a before, much less the language for it, before there was an up or a down to be upon, before there was a thing to be upon another thing. There lived a grizzled old hermit named Nothing. He was a happy hermit. He was quite content doing what he did best, which was acting out his nature. And he did nothing. He reveled in the act of doing nothing. This old happy hermit lived in his nature in a little cottage. And next to him was a pool that he called the unmanifest. Nothing was quite content doing what he did best, which was acting out his nature, and he did nothing. He reveled in the act of doing nothing. He was one with the none and no one around to shun. That is, until that mono ring. "What was that?" he said, looking around. He went to the door and flung it open, and there was something. "Where did you come from?" "Welcome, welcome. Come in, come in. You must be exhausted after your travels. We don't get many visitors around here. In fact, come to think of it, I think you're the very first." At that moment, Nothing realized that he also was something, and that there were two. Shaking his head a bit, he introduced himself and said that he was terribly sorry, but he had nothing to offer her. But he was so elated that he had a visitor. And then it dawned on him that he did have something to offer her. His gratitude for her arrival. Something then introduced herself, bowing in reverence for Nothing's hospitality. You see, Something was quite happy to be in the loving host of Nothing, because all she had ever done was something. Feeling the love of the host that Nothing had shown her, and the hospitality, she wished to repay him and show her gratitude for his warmth. So she somethinged up a prayer, a desire of love, and away the prayer went. Nothing did nothing to inspire this prayer, nor the answer that came. It turns out that Nothing's actions were just right to send Something's prayer singing into a circle. Nothing and Something adored the arrival of the circle, though small and still. For the longest time, Nothing and Something just assumed circle was mute, or was so happy enjoying its circleness that it hadn't yet noticed them. They went on loving and caring for her, the circle. And one fine day, they squinted and saw the circle fluttering with great vigor. They squealed with joy when they realized that it was twins. Nothing and Something heard the twins' first words to each other. To their surprise, they were arguing. "Oh, I must have drifted off there, but I swear, I've always been here, so I was here first. Where the hell did you come from?" The other circle replied, "I couldn't have said it better myself, bub." Nothing and Something tried to quell them with the only other action that they were capable of, love. Quelled. The circle seemed quelled, but could not directly hear the words of their ancestors. The circles decided to go off in separate directions, whatever that meant, they thrust their will forward with prayer and were surprised when a response came back. Yet they were uncertain if it was their prayer being answered or the voice of the other that they had tried so desperately to flee from. Either way, it was soon clear to both of them that the sweeter their notes of prayers, the sweeter the responses became. And thus they grew into harmony and song. The song got louder and louder and more beautiful until suddenly they realized that their prayers were curving around to themselves, and they became aware of curvature. And all of a sudden, right smack beneath them was the toroid. Startled, they apologized for the intrusion, but that they were merely trying to echo each other's songs in bliss. The toroid said, as a gentle, warm grandfather would, "Play on, dear ones. But who are those with you?" The twins were dumbfounded and shrugged their shoulders. "It's just us, and I'm the older." "I'm the older, hey, jerkhole." The toroid. The toroid interjected with a blanketing warm smile. "You don't see him, eh? Here, I'll show you." Toroid then reached in between them and grabbed the nothing by the something and pulled. He pulled and he pulled until the strings of time were taut. He let her rip, flinging them forward into a something where they were all each other, all at once, and always, and also not. Each saw their one foot in the unmanifest pond outside Nothing's door. "Where are we?" they said in unison, surprisingly. Even more surprisingly was when, out of their own mouths, echoed the response, "When are we?" The toroid spoke up, realizing that he had some vision the others didn't, and said that he felt like they were in a box of mirrors. This box of mirrors echoed off into infinity in every direction. "It's a map," he exclaimed to the others. "How did we get here?" asked the twins. Just then the images of love of each's individual story came into their consciousnesses. "That is how we travel through the map," shouted the toroid. "Love. It is all that moves and brings us places. It is our vehicle and destination. It gave rise to all of us, even you, Nothing." They all cheered in celebration for their joy, and they all were and are. They used their awareness to take their vehicle of love across the map, like an artist's brush across a canvas. They rode and rode, knowing all of it was love and bliss. They made paintings of gods and wars. They made crystalline paintings that glistened in the painting of a sun. They even painted an eraser that was intricately erasing the paintings without judgment, and what beauty it made. It was Nothing's favorite at auction, but he hated touring the studio. Of equal beauty was a painting of another brush. Oh, something was quivering with love and joy and excitement at experiencing this painting. Now that is something, exclaimed something. Yeah, is this guy on drugs? I think he's one of those schizophrenics there, Georgie boy. Deluded, mental, loco. Yeah, that's what it must be. Maybe the Archons have gotten their fat, greedy little AI fingers into the manipulation machine and auto-generated this deranged, bouncy ball of sloppy goo and splattering and splundering all over Grandma's new doily. Well, I'll answer that. Possibly later, but I think the question you're trying to really ask is it real? Is there any shred of insight into this nonsense? Is there anything that I could possibly find valuable? Yes. But to see and experience, we need to dip into the pool beyond the real. Is it a mere duality? The real and the unreal? The true and the false? Or is there a third? The unmanifest? The pool outside nothing's door? A pool many wish to plunder and pull out riches. Krishna hears that call. He hears all prayers. He hears the ones through the gods of greed. And he answers them in the same way he answers all prayers, with indifferent lack of judgment. He cares not. The pool is infinite and abundance flows from it always and inexhaustibly. All may drink from it till their heart's content. Now I ask you, what is your prayer? When we enter these waters with serenity and reverence and stillness and openness, the flow is laminar, soft, divine. The Tao emanates from the stillness. This guy on drugs? Is he one of them schizophrenics? I don't know, Georgie. I don't like it though. Probably one of them dang old narcissists. I bet he ain't gonna even edit this damn thing before he throws it up on the internet. Good Lord.